got something that might interest you.
So a long time ago, I got this small, unassuming handheld game as a child the day before yearbook photos were taken, and I think the results speak for themselves. You remember how Panera tried out that charged lemonade that was pumped full of so much caffeine that it literally killed people? Well, this is that, but for protein and testosterone. As you probably already guessed, I am, of course, referring to the manliest video game of all time, Hamtaro Ham Ham Heartbreak.
目覚めたまえ、我が主たちよ。
Now it should go without saying, but this isn't a game for the faint of heart, and just looking at the box art should tell you exactly what kind of themes will be present when you boot this bad boy up.
It has come to my attention that some of our candidates have been guilty of bribery, blackmail, and murder! Sorry, not murder. I meant to say operating a Zeppelin on school premises.
But it also contains perhaps the most terrifying thing of all, the French.
To moi? What is it? Huh? Who's that? Is someone in that tree? Because I have never gone up by myself before. I've never tried leaving the house before. Oui, that sounds fun!
So with that legally required warning out of the way, it's my duty to try to introduce this game to a wider audience. To sort of ease you all into it, as it were, should any of you out there discover it by mistake while your body's not ready to handle it. Should you all need a palate cleanser when we're finished here, I recommend playing something a bit more tame, something lighter. For me, and this is actually a true story, the day I finished playing Hamtaro for this video, I started streaming Fear and Hunger for a buddy of mine, and boy howdy what a tone shift that was.
Every time I look away for a moment.
Something terrible has happened to me.
Yes.
No! He's gonna get me! Ah! He's laughing at me. Oh, no.
I mean, that was.
Oh, I can
funny.
still keep moving.
Alright, breaking character now, just because I can't keep that going with this entire video. To tell the actual truth, I kinda unironically adore this little game. It's weird too, because I was never like a huge Hamtaro fan or anything growing up, but somehow I got my hands on it, and it's wound up being a game that I'll play every couple years just for the fun of it. Originally making its way to the American shelves back in 2003, Ham Ham Heartbreak's one of a trio of GBA titles that the series ever had, and it's honestly just a bundle of delight. The characters play pretty well off each other, and something about the cute little animations always stuck with me growing up, and even now I'm not afraid to say how adorable I still find it today. Story-wise, it's pretty simple. This evil goth hamster named Spat is going around causing people's relationships to break apart. And I say people, by the way, instead of hamsters, because as far as we can see, there's no real limit to who he affects. Like, he breaks up hamsters and monkeys, robosexuals, and even ghosts. His end goal is apparently just to eliminate love in every form from the world, so he's pretty much just the Hamtaro equivalent of Sluil Riam. To stop him, an angelic hamster named Harmony appears and tasks Hamtaro and Bijou with patching up all the broken loves and friendships that he's ruined during his rampage. Gameplay-wise, in order to save all the love out there, you'll need the help of your ham chats, which are a unique method of sometimes supernatural communication that the hamsters in this world can use. When you talk to a character, or find something suspicious, you can choose one of these ham chats to use on it, which will then help you solve all sorts of puzzles that you might run into. Sometimes you use them simply to communicate, conveying an idea or feeling to someone, and sometimes you have to think a bit outside the box by looking at what the ham chat physically does to the area around you. There's a ton of these phrases to learn throughout the game though, and while each one does indeed do something at some point, there's a few of them that you'll be using constantly. For example, the standard greeting between hamsters is the ham chat ham ha, and take a shot every time the word ham is said in this video. This is probably the one you'll be using the most throughout your playthrough, since it's essentially your talk to NPC option. What I find funny though is that responding to ham ha seems to be an ironclad rule amongst the hamster clan. Pretty much every time you use this on someone, they have to say it back to you. It doesn't matter what they're doing. And before we say our final farewells, we have with us here today the deceased's only son, here to share with us a few words in remembrance. My boy, the floor is yours. Otherwise, your standard ham chats are tack Q to slam into objects and jostle things loose, dig to... or hiff to sniff all sorts of delicious smells throughout the world. And aside from those, here's a selection of some of my personal favorite ham chats. Hey who, to yell. A simple ham chat to convey meaning across a wide distance. Blash T, to be angry, and also to sound like a Pokemon from a Gen 1 game. Rub, to polish. It is only on this list because the back of the American box art advertised the highly suspect sounding Rub Room. Blow T, oh god why?
キラークイーンはすでにドアノブに触っている。
And of course, my all-time favorite, Pass Chat, which just means to tell and does this. Now, while it's not exactly rocket science to figure out the solution to a lot of these puzzles, it's still pretty fun to do. Plus, it's always a treat to see the sprite work at play as you move throughout the game. Just looking at it, you can see a lot of charm emanating from the background and character animations, and it just fills you up with this warm, cozy feeling the whole time you're playing it. But like I said before, your main goal here is to fix any broken relationships you might run into. When you find a pair in need of help, there'll be some sort of task you need to do to get them back together, which could range from getting a couple to realize their romantic feelings for one another, or to get them to realize that their friendship needs patching up. One of the first couples that Spat messes with is the Oxnard-Pepper combo, which he ruins by telling the latter that Oxnard secretly hates her and wants her to go away forever. So, like any loving, trusting girlfriend would do, she instantly believes this stranger she's never met and runs off into the horizon until Hamtaro tracks her down and drags her stupid, gullible ham butt back so that the two of them can have an actual conversation. Honestly though, Oxnard, man to ham, if this is all it took to ruin your relationship, you can do better than this. Come on, guy, have some self-respect. This little side tangent here too, the whole time Spat's causing problems in this game, he keeps saying his little catchphrase, shown here. I don't know if it's just me, but I have no idea how I'm supposed to say this. As a kid, I always stuck with the idea that it was pronounced pith, but maybe it's just supposed to be him blowing raspberries while he does his evil schemes. Evil schemes which get progressively more psychopathic, by the way. Like at first, he's just going around whispering in people's ears like some kind of small furry Jafar, but soon enough he's veering into actual serial killer territory? Like, there's a bit early on when he tricks a hamster who can't swim onto a flimsy wooden board that he then just pushes into the ocean. And then later on, he traps a bunch of hamsters on a roller coaster that he hijacked the controls for. Really, just going off of this pattern here, eventually he's gonna realize that he's been going about his plans the roundabout way. Instead of all this subterfuge and scheming, sooner or later he's gonna figure out that the easiest thing he can do is just...
You can't love a corpse!
But while you explore the different maps the game has to offer, you'll be solving a myriad of puzzles. A lot of times you'll end up hitting a wall that requires a specific item or ham chat you don't have access to just yet, and so you'll have to leave it behind until you find what you need for it. Here's an example for you. On the beach map, you run into a couple of ham girls that are swooning over the hot, sweaty, muscular sports hamsters that are practicing nearby, specifically the one with the blue tail. They give you a love letter to hand off to said hamster, but since they're constantly practicing their Saitama side hop technique, you can't tell which one's which until you find some way of making them turn around. Although you can give the love letter to any one of the hamsters here, even the coach, which is pretty funny in its own right, here's a bit of advice from my own misspent youth. You literally can't solve this puzzle till later. For some reason, I was convinced as a kid that I could just blind guess which one of these was the blue hamster, so when I got the wrong choice over and over and over again, I was sure I was just getting unlucky with the 2 out of 3 chance. Regardless, at the start of this quest sequence, the two girls give you the ham chat tingly, which is supposed to represent the tingling feeling you get when you look at someone you like. But, Jesus. Imagine you're taking someone out on a date, right? Things are going well, the dinner was lovely, the atmosphere is nice and romantic, and you've been getting good vibes from each other the entire night. Soon, they lean over to you, cheeks blushing slightly, only to suddenly Photoshop stretch to be 10 feet tall while vibrating horrifically and screeching at you. What I'm saying is my last date didn't go well. Anyway, eventually what ends up happening in this game is that you start getting chain reactions of puzzle solving, and it feels pretty good to clear them all out. Really scratches that specific type of itch in my brain, you know? Speaking of clearing things out though, there are indeed things to collect if you want to go for 100% completion. For one, you can spend your sunflower seeds on these little outfits you can take pictures with. It's not anything that's ever required for the story, but whatever, it's cute I guess. Otherwise though, scattered around the entire world you'll find all sorts of items to add to your treasure log. And by items, I mean rocks. Rocks, you're going to be sniffing a lot of rocks in this game. However, with those rocks, you can then visit the nebulous Rub room to rub your rocks with Bijou. Let me rephrase that. You can visit the Rub room with Bijou to rub your rocks together while 2 other hamsters watch. Yeah, there we go, that's much better. For your sanity's sake though, I should point out that while the items inside the rocks are indeed randomized, the place you get the rock from affects the loot pool you have access to. So if you're missing a certain treasure, try getting rocks from different maps instead, because with no way to know which one came from what place when you're rubbing one out, it can be a pain to get the last item you need. But yeah, other than that, Hamtaro Ham Heartbreak is a lovely little experience. If you've never heard of it before all this, I definitely recommend it if you're looking for something simple and relaxing. It's one of the cuter games I can remember playing, and even as a casual Hamtaro consumer, I always still have more than enough fun whenever I play it. And aside from that one minor issue I have with the rocks, which again aren't even required to finish the main story, I don't think I have any real gripes about anything else in this game. Well, maybe one more small gripe. Just a little itsy bitsy hang up that you probably already know if you played this yourself. The final round of the stupid hula dance contest is a cruel, unfeeling god. Oh sure, the first 2 rounds lure you into a false sense of security, but good luck getting the decrepit old judges to acknowledge your feeble existence afterwards. Ooh, it just needs a bit more hula. Ooh, if only you had a chorus. Ooh, Brian.
Have you heard about the fortune teller?
I swear when I get my hands on you, they'll never be able to off your body from the wall. Originally making its way to American shelves back in 2003, I don't know what was that?
Loop is a madman, help us, save us!
Although you can still give that love letter out to any one of the hamsters here, even the coach, which is pretty far. Also, side note, Bijou's name always reminded me of Laserfire. Is it just me?